I think we've always wanted to build a house. I wanted to for reasons I can't really explain. I'm Pip, coming from New Zealand, where a lot of houses are built by the people who live in them. I think that seemed to, so it's something that's been brewing.
The first thing we probably looked at was how we were going to finance. To us, self-build was a really good way of getting value for money. And you were also, I think, very much in control of what was going on within the project.
I happened to be working near the Potton showrooms and popped in.
Once we'd had a look at those show homes, we were pretty firmly convinced that Potton was going to be the way to go. We felt as though we had a rapport, if you like, already. And I had seen Potton. I had seen Potton at a home show when I first came to this country 32 years ago, and I think it was their Caxton house that I'd seen. I thought, oh, that's nice, and so I had it at the back of my mind already.
We went to one of their big presentations, but I was impressed by what they said, and I think that kind of got us kick-started.
It's very tempting. Everybody does it, I would do it, to sit down and design your dream house. But that isn't going to fit on a lot of plots.
So we started looking at plots, and at the same time also started looking at what we'd quite like to build on one.
We very quickly latched onto the fact that they had a bespoke design service, and once we knew about the bespoke, we knew that we were going to be able to, for what we thought was a reasonable cost, have somebody design the house in the first place.
Then there were two streams of design, I suppose. One was the House in New Zealand magazine that we'd seen that we really just liked as a concept, which had a sort of long roof at the front and a short roof at the back, one story at the front and two stories at the back kind of thing. There was a house in one of the self-design magazines that didn't look anything like the house we wanted, but it did have the right number and size of rooms and the right budget and a couple of other things that we thought were good. And just kept doing sketches really and looking at magazines, and eventually came up with a sort of brief and some sketches and what we thought might work. We had a couple of meetings with Mark Day, who was our man, if you like, and we basically just shoveled that across the table and said, well, that's it. And then he asked questions and what we were thinking of and what was important to us. And the key thing for us was, obviously there's a kind of, this size, this amount of money. The rest of it was kind of there were little snippets of things we wanted, like a sort of vaulted bit in the hall, like space and light. I think that was really important. The idea of open mezzanine flowing out onto a balcony, the through fireplace and the open plan. They took that away and played with it, and a couple of months later, went to Potton's to see it. And they were mucking around with the audio visuals as you always do in presentations. And then all of a sudden this house popped up on the screen, and we thought, oh, that's just one of their demo houses or something. And it was like, wow, that's actually ours.
They are our ideas translated into reality. We didn't have a particular idea apart from what we'd seen in this house in New Zealand, but of course we didn't want that to be translated exactly, but those particular design ideas from that concept came up with this, which we really, really liked. We were quite blown away by it, weren't we?
Yeah. They took our ideas and came up with something we wanted. That was the most impressive thing. It wasn't like, well, thank you very much for your input, this is what we do. And they actually looked at what we wanted and generated that. And that really was. I remember walking out, I still remember walking out of that meeting. It was one of those kind of yes moments.
Yes, it was impressive, wasn't it?
We've been looking at plots around the place, gradually getting further and further away from London as we looked at prices. And then this came up. It was actually the idea of a plot in a self-built street. Because we're both complete novices at the game of self-build, and the idea of being in a self-built street where stuff's in the street, you're not going to have to suddenly build a road across a farmer's field or something weird like that. We actually looked at a plot further down. This plot was under offer at the time we started looking. We talked to the estate agent, the buyer dropped out. We managed to get an offer in really quickly and hey presto, we got the plot.
We did like the westerly facing aspect. We also knew that great crested newts are over the other side of the road and that we wouldn't be able to be built out from the view at any stage in the future. They not only designed a house, but part of that package was that they took you right through the entire planning process. We thought originally that we'd have the house sitting diagonally on the plot, but the planning consultants were very firmly of the opinion that it had to be running east-west and it had to be 8 metres from the back fence.
They'd already sorted out all the little things like sight lines and overlooking and all those kind of things which would drive you spare if you were trying to do it yourself. As far as we were concerned, it was pretty pain-free.
Yes, I think it's 8 weeks is the timescale that they gave you, and sure enough, after 8 weeks to the day, we had our planning approval. The biggest challenge was probably when we found out that we had to build the retaining wall. And along came an engineer's report detailing something called clay heave, and the recommendation was that we build a retaining wall. So that was the first challenge, but luckily our builder was able to get onto that, very quickly, and he had the guys on site.
That was about a month, I suppose.
Yes.
The big trucks arrived with the Potton kit and the Potton guys. It was ludicrously exciting. You're watching some kind of abstract thing happening, and then you suddenly realise at the end of 3 weeks, three and a half weeks,
yes,
certainly not quite 4, that was our house, and it was kind of, there it was, kind of done. Obviously a lot of stuff had to be done afterwards, but the actual Potton build was like magic, if you like. It really just popped up.
I went to a kitchen design seminar once, and I also went to another seminar where they had a range of different people connected with the building trade, from solar panel people, decorating, which were all quite important in terms of getting together your own ideas. I already had fairly strong ideas about interior design, but you were able to bounce ideas off these people if you had some questions to ask them, and Potton seemed to have thought of the whole package really, didn't they? It wasn't just, we can build you a house, it was, this is how you go about it, and these are all the people who can help you.
This doesn't look like a Potton house internally. And there was no pressure from Potton to make it look like that. In fact, they're almost the opposite. They were quite excited by the idea of doing something different.
This is our very own house, from conception through to moving in, and we still walk around the house from time to time going, wow, this is ours.
I think it's still sinking in. This isn't a work of art we've drawn or something like that. This is actually a house that we're going to live in. Because there's so much space and light, you can suddenly find a new view, a new way of looking at it.
Yes, so even just something as simple as sitting at the top of the stairs there and looking across the mezzanine and down into the open space there, you can see right out across through the balcony out to the west. And you just keep coming across these, even though it's a very open house, you keep coming across these little special bits.
But the idea of being able to sit out on the balcony and watch the sunset, that's, I think we kind of thought we'd do that, but the actual reality of it has been really, really quite good. In a fairly big conurbation, it feels like we've got real space.
To go from that plan into this house, you have a level of wonderment that you've actually been through that whole process, where here is something on paper, here is a physical reality that we are now living in, and we're extremely happy with it, aren't we?
Yeah, I still walk through the door and kind of have wow moments. It's really exciting and pleasant and relaxing and nice to live in. And they like it too.